6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. XAU, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI. 6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. XAU, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. I hope everyone is doing well this Monday morning. It's been a very eventful one, to say the least. Yen looking crazy, dollar making some moves as well. So a lot to talk about. Of course, any requests, any pairs you're looking at, any trades you're looking to take or in, feel free to share and we discuss together. As always, guys, if you are enjoying the content, finding it useful, please be sure to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. Does really help out. Hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads or in the future. And of course, share with your friends as well. Does help promote the channel. But as always, we'll start with the DXY, work our way through the USD pairs. If you have any requests, drop in the chat and we'll take a look at some of the pairs on my watch list, what I'm looking at, some pairs in the crosses, some pairs in the yens, which look really interesting as well. Probably some other markets we'll dive into as well. But we'll start with the DXY, which has started off pretty bullish. Now, if you haven't checked out the weekly analysis, I posted on the weekend. Feel free to go and do so. It's the most recent upload on the channel. But I did say I'm looking for some strength in the dollar. However, not in this way. We had a bit of a gap to the upside in price. Has now just kind of left me in the dust a little bit. I was hoping to see price push back into the low here. There's a nice demand zone resting just below us. That's the area which I was looking to see if I can get some buys for the dollar this week, or some sales for euro, sales for pound as well, which we'll take a look at in a moment. But that was really the plan I had for the dollar this week, because we had this really aggressive wick to the upside. So I wasn't really convinced that price was just going to continue. Very aggressive wick typically means that price probably is going to have one more sell before it does have the buy, if it is going to have the buy. So that's why I was looking for price to push one more time lower. And of course I had great confluence here, back at the demand zone, back at this low. So that's really the hot spot for the buys. But now that we are looking really bullish, it looks like dollar is just going to probably just push back to the swing high there. So at this point in time, I'm going to have to be a bit more cautious and really just hope for pullbacks, really, because I can see dollar, especially with momentum right now, just breaking to highs without much of a pullback. What would be nice would be perhaps a retest of some of these areas intraday, perhaps on like a 15-30 minute chart, more 15, even 5 minutes to be honest. But pullbacks into this area would look really attractive, and then some longs back to the high, and then so on and so forth. We'll see how bullish dollar is this week. But yeah, very strong up move. Looks like we're attacking the highs here again. We'll see how far we can go. Let's not forget that the overall trend is still bearish. So let's not get too carried away with the bullish bias. We could still very much roll back over. But for now, yeah, the buyers are in charge. So pullbacks on the dollar and more upside, at least to 98.6 will be the plan. What's up, Olivia? Welcome to the stream. Euro, yeah, we'll take a look at that as well. What's up, Demar? Hope you are doing good. So yeah, Euro USD has been interesting. This was a pair, well, technically is still a pair which I'm looking to trade this week, but after this bearish move, I doubt I do get the opportunity in terms of the short. Maybe some longs, which I'll speak about in a moment. But the plan this week was to see if we can get an up move above the high here. So I believe we were trading around here going into the weekend. So I was hoping for a push to the upside, go take out the highs here. And primarily the reason why I wanted to see that is because this was just a big range. I don't really want to find entries, excuse me, inside the middle of that range, because that's where all the noise is, that's where all the fluctuation is. I don't want to be sticking trades in there. The odds of me getting wicked out, stopped out are just very, very high. I'd rather operate in these areas away from the noise, away from the choppiness, put my entries and stop losses in those locations. It makes so much more sense. Again, not that you will win every trade, but on average, it'll be a much better place to find your entries and find your stops, and then take the move down. And of course, we did have a nice supply zone above us, basically the inverse setup of what we just spoke about on the dollar. So that was the plan coming to the week for the shorts. I also did speak about some longs for euro down at this low here as well. And the reason why I am still somewhat interested in the longs is because, again, euro is still very much in a bullish trend. I'm not going to disregard that just yet. Yes, we've seen some bearish momentum over the past few days, but does this bearish move invalidate this whole trend? No, not quite. This could be a pullback for price to continue higher. This could be a reversal in the making, potentially. It's difficult to know which one until we see a bit more information, more price action. So I'm still very much looking to see if I can catch the buy for potentially another higher low, just as we did back over here, just as we did over here, and perhaps maybe we're doing that again. So this is still bullish territory. Now that I've kind of missed the sells, as in I don't see price making a move back to this zone anymore, without at least taking out that low. So now that I kind of missed the sells in that regard, I'm now a bit more focused to the buying opportunity. So I'm going to see what price does at this low here. Of course, we're coming in pretty aggressive. I do want price to take out that low and then show me some pretty aggressive rejection to convince me for a buy. That's the only way I do see some opportunities. But now we are pushing to bullish bullish territory, so I'm not focused on the sells anymore. Maybe there might be a last minute pullback because we are approaching support right now. There might be a last minute pullback on the dollar, on euro dollar, something like this for another drop. So that could be a nice, again, intraday short opportunity, just like what I was referencing on the DXY. There may be, again, a last minute pullback, which could be nice to take the next move higher. And on euro dollar, we could see the same thing, but of course in the opposite direction. So we could still see a last minute pullback of that bearish leg, a nice correction, perhaps again on the 50-minute chart or even lower, and then some shorts to go and take out that low. So if you do have a short buy still, I do think there are opportunities on the lower time frames. Of course, we need that pullback for it to actually happen, but trading is a waiting game. Let's see if that actually does happen. And then once we do take out this low here, that's when my bearish bias gets put on pause, and now I'm starting to look for some buying opportunities, and then we'll go from there. So that's very much my take there for euro. If there is any kind of specific time frames or ideas you want me to look at, just put it in the chat and let me know. But that's more or less what I'm looking at for euro. As for pound USD, I'm looking at something similar. I'm not so keen on the buys for pounds. I don't really have a setup for that, so to speak, but I do have a bearish setup which I quite like, and I'm not too sure if we see that happen at this rate, especially with DXY being so bullish at the moment. But I do like this opportunity. Shorts back at 1.35828, which is basically price coming back to reject that resistance level once, twice. Of course, this is your big fake out. Now I'm just looking for price to come back and retest that zone for, again, another sell. I like what I'm seeing, especially because price, again, is still quite flat. I would argue this is somewhat of a range as well for pound USD. So I like the idea of price running to the upside, taking out this range. Again, early sellers getting taken out of the market, and then maybe catching the actual move from a more significant area where I'll be happy to put my stop loss above and maybe a push back into support. Because essentially, pound has been ranging inside this area, minus these two fake outs here, 1 and 2. Price will just be incredibly flat. So truthfully, the best place for me to enter a trade or put a stop loss will be at these areas here. inside there is kind of not great. Not to say you won't catch a move, you won't catch a trade. You could very much do so, but it's just not optimal, especially with the way I view the market and the way I trade as well. So yeah, I want price to push back to resistance, and then we can talk about opportunities on pound. Intraday, I'm not really seeing much, to be honest. Dropping to the 15. Like I said, this is very, very noisy. Do I really want to be looking for entries in this area? No. So I won't, sort of thing. Again, trading is all about just finding good opportunities, a good opportunity after good opportunity after good opportunity. No need to rush or force anything. You'd rather wait a period of time to find the next best opportunity than take 5 poor trades in between. So I'm not seeing much there in pound, to be honest, intraday. So just sticking kind of more with a 4-hour hourly bias with some shorts around that area. And it's a really big if we'll get there. But that's the best I've got for pound in these conditions. In terms of dollar CAD's interesting because I actually quite like the shorts on dollar CAD, but of course that does very much go against the bias on the DXY right now. And I don't really mind that too much because I see it as like a hedge, like okay, if dollar doesn't retain its strength and dollar doesn't see strength this week, and if I'm wrong with that bias, potentially dollar CAD shorts might set up and I can still take advantage of that move. So it's like a hedge to the idea. But the reason why I'm short bias on dollar CAD is quite a few reasons, but mainly because of where we're trading in the higher time frames. You can see in general this is an area of resistance on the weekly chart. So typically this is an area which I'll be more comfortable selling. Now again, if you're a bit more intraday, like hourly 15 below, you're not too concerned with this level because you'll be in and out of the market pretty quickly. You're not looking for a massive swing trade. But with my swing cap on, I quite like the location of where we're trading. And if price does reject this area, there's a lot of downside opportunity there for dollar CAD back to these lows, so on and so forth. Now, of course, I'm not looking for a move that far away necessarily, but this is definitely a location which I'll be happy to be looking for bearish opportunities. We'll see if we get it or not. Not guaranteed to reject this level, but if we do, I want to make sure that I'm there to take it. So I quite like the location of where we're trading on the higher time frames. And if I drop to the daily chart, we are also testing a nice area of supply, which gave us our last bearish leg from here to that low. So as you can see, we had that push, creates a new low, lower high, lower low. Now we're back in that supply zone as well. So we've got a lot of confluence layered on top of each other. And I quite like how price is moving as well. It's very corrective, not really seeing much strength to the upside either. So typically this type of behavior is a horrendous line. Let me do that again. This type of behavior resembles pullbacks, resembles corrections, and I could see price topping out potentially for a move lower. So this does really go against the bullish bias I have for the dollar. But as I said, it's a bit more of a hedge if it doesn't play out. So we'll see what price does in this area because I quite like opportunities on the 8-hour chart. So I like the fact that price has just kind of swept the high here. Now we're starting to lose that momentum and become a bit more corrective. So what I'm looking for is a strong kind of bearish candle, closing back underneath this high, really showing momentum back into the market. Because of course, if dollar is going to be strong, then dollar CAD is just going to do something like that. And then that would scrap my bearish bias. So if that happens, I will reanalyze dollar CAD from there onwards. But for now, that hasn't happened yet. So I'm still going to stay flexible, not so much trying to judge price and predict price, more so just be ready for an opportunity if it does form. That's really my take on dollar CAD for now. But yeah, strong pushback below that high. I do like the shorts there for dollar CAD. As for Aussie dollar, this one's interesting. I did say on my weekly analysis that I'm kind of I'm not so keen on the shorts because of how aggressive this pullback was. Doesn't mean price still can't fall. It very much can. But as a very technical trader, I'm always looking for the picture, not necessarily picture perfect, but something that resembles patterns which I trade all the time and in the same kind of characteristics, same kind of manner, which I trade all the time. If something is a bit out of place, normally I just don't take the trade. So in terms of Aussie dollar, this is a pretty aggressive move. So because of that, it's not really giving me retracement vibes. Therefore, I'll be very, very careful with selling this, even with DXY looking very, very bullish at the moment. So I don't mind some buying opportunities, potentially at the low here again. So if price was to run back to the lows here, especially if it was like a nice and corrective move down, that would be a nice opportunity for a buy, especially trading in a nice area of demand as well. I don't mind the buys around 0.652. And also intraday, I may consider some buys over here as well. I may consider some buys over there as well. So as price pushes to the low, see what we do. Maybe looking for like a big correction like this, and then a continuation to the upside. But of course that does contradict the bullish bias on the DXY, so I'm a little bit on the fence with that idea. In terms of the technicals, I quite like it. It's giving me an inverse shoulder pattern as well, so I quite like the idea and where we're positioned. But with dollar being so strong, do I really want to be buying Aussie dollar? I'll see as the day progresses. I'll make that decision later on. Sometimes I will go against it. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, dollar's looking too strong or too weak, let me not trade it. It really depends on the setup and how I feel about it. In terms of like the plan and the technicals, it looks good. It's just that DXY bias is definitely giving me some alarm bells right now, so I'm being a bit careful there. But I'm going to keep an eye on this area. We'll see what we can get. If not, then looking down there around 0.652. But either way, I'm not really keen with the sells with Aussie. So I'm more focused on the buys, at least for now anyway. In terms of New Zealand dollar, this one has seen some nice upside. Of course, I have been pretty bearish on New Zealand dollar, mainly because of the structure we're seeing. Lower lows and lower highs mostly. And we failed to break structure there as well and had a really aggressive sell-off too. So the market has been pretty bearish, but at the same time, it does matter where you're looking to short, because you can still sell in a bearish market and still take losers. It's about the timing and where you enter as well. And down here is more bullish territory. I'm not necessarily bullish on New Zealand dollar, but this is more bullish territory. As price keeps sweeping at the lows, we have pretty big recoveries afterwards, and we still might have a bit more room to the upside. So I wouldn't want to be shorting New Zealand dollar until we kind of get into this kind of area here. 0.59, that would be where I would feel a bit more comfortable shorting New Zealand dollar. Anything before that, I'm not too sure if I'll entertain. I'd rather probably look for setups elsewhere. So that's kind of the case situation I'm in for New Zealand dollar. Intraday, there might be some short-term buys actually as we come back into this area. This is looking like a bit of a range at the moment. So what you could be looking at is another push back into the low here and then a buy off that. So this would be your bullish opportunity as price takes out that low, and then look for a buy back to resistance, then maybe back into some supply just above us. So that could be a nice short-term play. Again, going against USD strength there a little bit, so take that into consideration. But I don't mind this opportunity, especially on like a 15, actually maybe 30 minute. I think 15 would be a bit too intricate for me. Yeah, I'll probably say 30, 15, a bit too much information there. Yeah, 30 or even hourly chart even. But yeah, I don't mind the opportunity. A bit aggressive, yes, momentum's against you, but you're positioned well, and if price does just break through and takes out this low, then you can just fold your hands and sit back, because at that point, yeah, we probably aren't going to see the buys come into place. In terms of gold's just looking very, very bullish, almost hitting 4K. That looks like it probably will hit this week, which is insane. But yeah, gold's just been ridiculously bullish right now. So the only opportunities we're interested in is pullbacks. We did have some equal highs here, but yeah, gold didn't really budge with that. We didn't really see much momentum. It was quite corrective. It's just, price has continued. So I do think be careful with gold, because yes, we're still very, very bullish, but we are running out momentum. You can see with these bullish legs, they're not as strong as they once were. There's not as much momentum there. So yes, we're still bullish, and I do expect us to pull back and continue. But this time, I do think we'll have a slightly bigger pullback. And what I mean by that is not like a pullback that big. Instead of maybe more of like an intricate pullback like this, I feel like we might have something like this come into play. Maybe a retest of the high, maybe even a push all the way to this low here before continuing. I could see that happening. And that would be a great opportunity if that was to happen, because naturally we'll probably have a bigger risk reward opportunity for a push back to high. And maybe if you're feeling good, you hold it to 4K maybe as well. So yeah, I'll say keep an eye on gold. There is opportunity here still. 4K is a big psychological target. I think that's where price is going to be attracted to. So in my books, there's still room to the upside. Gold is still extremely bullish on pretty much all time frames. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on those areas for some buys. Excuse me. For some buys. My throat is still a little bit dry. For some buys later this week. But yeah, I do think more upside for gold. And as for silver, yeah, silver's still doing some damage here. 50 there. That's a huge psychological level for silver. And we're not too far away from that too. So again, similar to, similar to gold, still looking very, very bullish. I do think, again, with this one, we're probably going to have a deeper pullback, so be aware of that. You can see with the up move, not really showing much momentum there. So I'm still very bullish, but I'm not like jumping into buys. It's not like, you know, momentum back over here or momentum back over there, where you want to just take advantage of pretty much any pullback. Here's like, okay, I'm a bit more skeptical now. And if you do see a bit more downside, that would be great. Retest some highs, maybe find a continuation off the back of that. So yeah, still very, very bullish on silver. And 50, which is pretty much where we got all-time highs at. That probably could be hit in the next week or two as well. So still looking very, very bullish across the board. But let's say hello to some peeps. Hope everyone had a good weekend. What's up, Holy One? GCAD, New Zealand dollar, just about got to highs on Friday. Nice. Closed both, and I put both before market closed. Leaving it a little bit late there, but good close. Now gone back down nonetheless. We'll both won both trades, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, again, your targets is always like it's a plan. You know, price may get to your target to the pip. It may miss it by a few pips. It might absolutely blast straight through. Especially when you're intraday trading going into the weekend, you probably do want to close the trade, even if it's not even halfway to your target, because you can see with some of the gaps we've had this week. You know, if you've had some intraday positions on, yeah, you can get absolutely ripped with some gaps. So, and especially if they're already winning trades as well, there's no need to take the risk. Might as well take the profit and run. But congrats on those positions, Holy One. What's up, Yusuf? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Welcome. I'm doing good. Thank you. What's up, Raymond? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Currently tech 100. Okay, nice. To the next hourly high. Rank them in. Okay. Asking much, just high and out if we get that. Okay, cool. We'll take a look at some indices as well. What's up, Bashi? Hope you're doing good, my man. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads. And of course, drop any questions, requests, charts you're looking at, trades you're in the chat, and we can discuss. Ivan, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Papaya, welcome to the stream. Hope you are. Is that cease integrated? Yeah, that's cease integrated, yeah. I keep thinking two different people. Rexus, good morning. Force and GU, yeah, we can take a look at that as well. Alright, no problem, Bashi. Sultani, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Northando, what's up? Does my robot work well? Which robot are you talking about? What do I think of the DXY current levels? Yeah, DXY has been interesting. We'll go take a look. I mean, it's looking very bullish. It looks like it's about to go push to like 98.6, I think, or something like that. But I'll go and take a look in detail for you. LFTJ, yeah, 10,000 BTC for a pizza. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I did that, I'm not gonna lie. What's happening with yen pair? They're looking crazy, very, very crazy. A lot to go through there as well. Quickly, I just want to shout out our perps platform, and then we'll go through some requests. So if you do have any other requests, drop it down in the chat. Any pairs or instruments you're looking to trade, let me know. But yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out the platform, again, this is something we've been working on for the past few months, and it allows you to trade perps. At the moment, we only have cryptocurrencies, but we'll be adding other markets to the platform. FX, commodities, indices, you name it, will be coming onto the platform. You can trade via any Solana and Ethereum wallet. So if you do have any of those wallets, and if you don't, really easy to get, you can connect direct to the platform and trade directly from your wallet. In terms of withdrawals, you don't have to request or wait a certain period of time. Everything's pretty much instant, so there's no kind of restrictions or delays regarding that as well. And if you haven't checked out the platform itself, will be on it. I do have the link to the platform at the top of the chat. Pretty sure it's pinned. And if you do want a full breakdown of how to use it, how to trade with the platform as well, I do have a video on my channel which does a complete run through the platform and also talks a lot of detail about the AI agent assistant, if you will, in the top left, which will give you support and resistance levels, it will analyze risk for you, sentiment, it'll give you 4-hour trading setups as well, and a lot more too. So if you want to see more information about the platform, do check it out for yourself, or you can go and check out the YouTube video which I filmed on the channel, which of course will give you a bit more information. But yeah, guys, we'll go through some requests you guys have made. We'll start with GU because that was requested earlier, and then we'll take a look at the DXY as well. Now I do want to go through some yen pairs because yeah, crazy price action there. Bongani, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Looking to go short in Aussie. Yeah, I'm not really looking to go short in Aussie. It's not my favorite dollar pair to short right now. But yeah, I'll definitely take a look for you. Sushant joined your stream after quite some time. Okay, cool. Looks like your trading style and terms you use have changed a little. Yeah, probably. I mean, depends when you first saw me, but I have kind of focused my trading a little bit more into more kind of critical areas, and that's been a change I've made probably in the last year and a half. Because again, trading is all a journey. How I traded last year, the year before that, 3 years before that as well, has changed. Not drastically. I'm still looking at support and resistance, candlestick patterns. The patterns I've traded today is the same patterns I've traded years ago. So nothing's really changed from that. But in terms of how I position myself, I have changed that a little bit, probably in the past kind of year and a half. And probably in the next year and a half, I probably would change a little bit as well. Because again, you're always refining what you're doing good, do that more. What's not working, can you change that? If not, get rid of it, sort of thing. It's always been a vital, critical point of my trading, and pretty much every trader as well. But we'll go take a look at pound USD. So pound USD, like I said, I quite like the shorts up high. Back at this level here, you can see price reject that area on quite a few attempts now, minus this big fake out. But this is really where I want to position myself, because you can see how congested and how flat the market is. I don't really want to be looking for entries in this area. Not optimal in an area where there's a lot of noise, a lot of choppiness. I don't want to position myself there. If I can wait for price to run back to highs and then look for rejection there, I'd feel so much more confident with some short opportunities, provided, of course, there's some healthy rejection up there. But I can imagine a lot of people getting caught back and forth in here, buying, selling. That's just not a place where I want to be in. When price can make a run to highs, take out some more minor highs to our left there and reject more significant areas. Of course, not saying this area is necessarily perfect, but this is just a much better location for an entry. If we do reject well, get some stops above the high, and you're looking at a pretty good trade if you can push back to lows as well, or even halfway, that will still be a decent risk reward opportunity. So pound USD, I do have a short bias. The reason I do is because I'm basically betting that this fake out we had 2-3 weeks ago has still got a bit more downside left, but I just don't look at price right now and expect to see downside. I don't think the pullback's over just yet. So this is where I want to see price pull back into. So basically all I'm looking for is a retracement of that bearish leg. So drawing the fib from the high to the low, you've got the 0.618 resting in that area, you've got the key level resistance resting in that area. I think this is just a great place to short, and of course you're taking out some of those minor highs as well. So you're grabbing you're kind of taking out some early sellers, using that to your advantage, testing key resistance. You got a healthy fib level there too. And yeah, a pushback to support would be a great trade. I mean, there's also a possibility we run back to these lows, which I think could be a possibility, especially if the DXY really does reverse. But yeah, I quite like where we're trading if we can get there. So that's really my take for pound. I don't really have an intraday kind of opportunity I'm keeping an eye on as well. If I drop to the 15, it just looks like very noisy, messy price action, really. We're testing some support right now, failing to break through. Would I want to buy? No. Would I want to sell? No either. So yeah, I don't have too much to say intraday, but that kind of swing bias, sure. I quite like what I'm seeing. Okay, so we'll take a look at which pair I was going to look at again. DXY, yeah. So yeah, DXY, the bias coming into the week was a bullish one. I did say in the weekly analysis, again, if you haven't checked it out, feel free to do so. But basically, to summarize that, I was basically saying, okay, I had a bullish bias going to last week as well. I basically said that as long as price can respect anywhere in here, I'm expecting buys. I'm expecting price to form a higher low and push back to high. So that was the plan. But then the week started, and I'm talking about last week. Last week started, we had a pretty aggressive push down. I think that started from Friday, but into Monday. So I was like, okay, price doesn't look quite ready yet to be bought. The pullback's a bit too steep, a bit too aggressive. That's not really how I like to see my pullbacks. But then we did start to become a bit more corrective, and then I wasn't really trading at this point in time. So I wasn't really keeping up to date with price, but we did start to become a bit more corrective and did see some strength come back into the market. However, it did kind of fail, left a big wick to the upside and took a lot of these highs here. So the plan this week was looking for one more push down back to these lows and focus my efforts more so in this area, which kind of kick-started the bullish move, and then look for some entries there for a buy. Not so much on the dollar, but sells on euro, sells on pound for that matter. So that's really what I was interested there for the DXY, and then some buys here for a swing back to resistance at the very least, and maybe the swing high if things go very, very well. Now, of course, since price has gapped to the upside, now we're looking very bullish. That's kind of messed me up a little bit. Not necessarily in terms of the bias, but I did really like that opportunity. So now the take for dollar is that, okay, I'm expecting a bit more upside, for price to at least come back and test resistance 98.5, 98.6. I think we're very likely just to see that move there. What would be nice is if the dollar can have one last pullback. That would be very, very nice if you could see DXY do that. I'm not too sure if we will, but again, as traders, we're just staying on our feet, staying reactive. Maybe price does give us one more pullback before we continue. And if that's the case, we want to be ready for that opportunity. If, of course, the dollar does just fly, then so be it. But I am going to keep a close eye on some pullbacks there for the DXY and a push to resistance. And to be honest, once we see this move, once price does go and take out the high here, I'm not too sure what I'm expecting really. Would I still be bullish? No, not really. We're coming back into a lot of resistance. Let's not forget that the bigger picture, we are still very bearish. Still seeing lower highs here. Price is still just about taking out lows. Once we start to trade in these areas, I wouldn't be surprised if a lower high forms and we come back down. So would I still be aggressively trying to take buys there, especially intraday? Yeah, maybe you can walk away with a few pips here and there, but nothing, not a big swing, or at least I wouldn't bet on it anyway. Of course, maybe we are reversing, but it's way, way too early to tell if we're going to do that or not. So once price does take up this high here, I would probably switch more to a bearish bias and start to keep an eye out for some selling opportunities for a push back down. So that's kind of my take there for the dollar, really. I think we can see some strength into 98.6, maybe even 99. That's a bit more of an optimistic target, but 98.6, 98.7, 98.8 even, I can see that happen. But once we do take out the high, I probably will shift to more of a bearish bias and keep an eye out for some sells and maybe some buys on euro and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's kind of my take for the DXY right now. A bit more strength, but yeah, I'm not necessarily saying, I'm not betting on a big move here. I need a lot more strength. A lot more strength for us to bet on that continuation. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the DXY. I'll take a look at Aussie dollar as well, and then I'll go through some yen pairs, and then I'll go take a look at my watch list, because yen pairs are very, very interesting at the moment. Okay, so take a look at Aussie dollar, then we'll go to yen. So Aussie dollar, so Aussie dollar, I have somewhat of a bullish, not necessarily bullish bias, it's just that I like these bullish opportunities, and I want to see how price reacts with these opportunities, and of course keep an eye on the DXY. I'm not so much trying to predict what the market's going to do. It's a guessing game in that case. What I have more control over is the setups I take in the areas I buy and sell from. And this, to me, on paper, looks like a good buy opportunity. You got that inverse head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder. And all I'm looking for, basically, is the pullback of this for more upside. So that's basically the plan that I have for Aussie dollar. Now, in terms of sells, I mean, I know there's a bit of hindsight involved, but you kind of already want to be in the position for a short. You know, price came back into resistance, really nice aggressive wick there. That's really where you want to position yourself for a short. Now that boat has sailed, I mean, you can still enter here. It's just a bit late. Your stop loss is going to be above highs. It's not going to be a great risk reward, especially with support just below you. So yeah, I'm not really seeing great sell opportunities right now. I still like the buys, because again, I'm looking to see if I can play this correction. So I'm going to study what price does here and then make up my mind if I am going to attempt the buys or not. Of course, seeing what's happened with the dollar, I have to be quite careful. But yeah, looking at how Aussie dollar has been moving, I'm just not quite convinced with the shorts right now. And I have the same bias down here as well. If price does break through this area and start to trade at this support level, I'm also going to be interested for some buys there too. You know, potentially this trend does continue, although it is a very, very corrective one. So yeah, I'm actually looking at some more buys on Aussie dollar. But again, how price gets there, how price reacts for these levels is going to be very, very important in making me find those entries or not. Or just leaving price alone completely. So yeah, that's very much the plan I have with Aussie dollar. In terms of some of the yen pairs, very, very big moves. I'm a bit gutted, to be honest, because again, I wasn't really trading last week, but New Zealand yen looked really good. Really good for a buy. I was actually going through it on the weekend. I was like, oh, New Zealand yen actually looked really good for a buy. I gave a nice entry as well on the 8 hour. So I did mention it on my weekly analysis. I said, in terms of setups, I really like New Zealand yen will be one of them for a buy. But because I did miss this entry, which was on Thursday, Thursday, actually early hours of Thursday, which I wasn't really trading. So I didn't really see the setup there until I was analyzing on Friday. So I said in the weekly analysis, if price can come back down, double bottom, that could be a nice place for a buy. And the reason I said that is because I don't see price selling off. I do think this is just a big correction for us to continue higher. I said on the weekend, I don't see price doing that. This is way too corrective. I do think price is likely to push. So yeah, would have been a very, very nice buy. I'm not going to lie, some entries there, of course. Explosion to the upside, but nonetheless, there's always good opportunities around the corner. So not to be too upset about that position. But yeah, very, very aggressive move. I do think price is just forming a bottom here, to be honest. So my expectation for New Zealand yen will be a push back to highs at 89 eventually. The way I see it, it looks like to me price just had a push. This is its correction. And now I'm expecting another push. So that's the plan I have. So if you're looking at opportunities for New Zealand yen, I'll stick with the bullish ones. I know we're pushing back into resistance stroke supply up here. And of course, I don't think this is a brilliant place to be looking to try and buy New Zealand yen. We would want to see a much deeper correction first. But in terms of the plan or the direction I would want to trade in is definitely with the buyers here. So yeah, I do see a push to 89. CAD yen was another yen pair. I did say I was looking for some buys coming into the week, but yeah, that has well and truly left me in the dust there. I said I really like where price is trading, coming back into this zone here. You know, price just took out some major lows going across support. I was looking for the recovery. I said if price closes back above that support level, then I'll be in for a buy, and that will be my confirmation to take the trade. Of course, we have closed back above, but all the way up there, I'm not going to take a position like this for two main reasons. One, the risk reward is very skewed in terms of, because I probably would target the high here, but that would be the first level that sellers will probably jump into the market and could take price against me. So risk reward is horrendous. And of course, with this big gap, there's always that risk that price could come back to fill the gap before continuing as well. So I'd rather just wait to see if that could happen too. Of course, it probably won't, maybe, but yeah, I wouldn't want to take a trade for those reasons. So yeah, no opportunity there really with CAD yen, although I'm not too upset about that as well, because I do think there's still more upside for CAD yen for a pushback to 108.881. Therefore, the plan would be looking for intraday pullbacks along the way as we continue higher. So trying to buy these lows here is really going to be the plan. And that could develop quite nicely as the week progresses. So that's really what the focus will be. Of course, way too early to forecast that. I mean, of course, we had like a very intraday pullback on like a 5-minute chart here. Not so concerned with that. But yeah, CAD yen looking extremely bullish. I do think price is pushing back to highs there as well. Dollar yen, I quite like what I'm seeing too, because it looks like price is now back outside that range, and looks like we're just on a one-way ticket back to the high there. Looks like we had just one last big correction before price continues. But the key thing which I like about dollar yen is that we're not trading inside that zone anymore. So again, for dollar yen, similar to CAD yen, I do expect to see some type of correction at some point and then a push back to highs. So if we could probably drop like a 50-minute, maybe there's a pullback opportunity that could develop over the next couple of days. And we can take some buys back into 150.8, 150.9. So yeah, very, very bullish on dollar yen, very bullish on CAD yen, New Zealand yen, pound yen. If we take a look as well, I am pretty bullish on this one. It looks like maybe price has made its mind up as to what it wants to do in reference to this level of resistance, because we've just been back and forth. Is price going to break it? Is price going to respect it? We don't know. It's just been really 50-50. But to me, with this momentum, of course, I probably would still wait for the day candle to close. But it looks to me that price has made its mind up. If price was to come back down, that would be a very big rejection. But I'm going to anticipate this to be a breakout until proven otherwise. So if price does come back down really aggressively, I'll read back into it. But for now, it looks like we've got the breakout. And the reason why I quite like what we have here is because with pound yen, I'm expecting to move all the way to the next key level, which would take us to 207.879. And if you just measure that from current price, we've still got another 570 odd pips. So there's opportunity there. There's opportunity. Don't even need to be taking advantage of all of that. You can just take small pieces as we go along. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing with pound yen as well. Very, very, very bullish. And again, the idea would just be looking for pullbacks, maybe retesting some of these highs here before we continue higher. So being patient with that. But yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do. Sometimes, you know, gaps like this will happen. This is a very, very big gap. Can't remember the last time seeing a gap this big, to be honest. Yeah, can't think of it. I mean, I'm sure if you scroll back, you'll see it. But yeah, pretty big gap. Haven't seen a gap like this in a long time, to be honest. So yeah, just gonna have to adapt to what the market's giving you and make sure you're managing risk, because again, that's the most important thing. Buy size news, what's up? JP, we have me up 5x since Friday. Nice. Not sure what to do now. Yeah, I mean, it's nice though, because well, I've been in both sides of the coin where you're in a trade and price gaps in your favor, especially some big gaps as well. And then I've been in some trades where prices gapped against me, even below my stop loss as well. So I get filled at a worse price. So instead of losing like 1R, sometimes lost 2R potentially. And of course, there'll be worse cases than that as well. But yeah, in terms of the gap, really, I mean, again, this is something you won't necessarily plan for because you wouldn't anticipate that, but it just comes back to what your management plan or your target plan for the trade was. Has price hit your target? If so, close the trade. You know, it's done the job. If you want to leave a bit to run because, you know, this is unique conditions, maybe price does just really run and see a big move and you don't want to miss out on that, you can always, you know, close a good chunk, 60-70%, leave the rest to run. You can, of course, if it has hit your target, you can close everything and just move on to the next position. If it hasn't hit your target yet, then still treat it as you would treat it as a normal trade. If you're trading stops or taking partials, you know, do that as well. So you don't really want to do anything different because nothing really different has happened apart from, you know, just a really big move up. But if you're in the buy, if it's hit your target, you manage how you would plan to do. And if not, if it hasn't hit your target yet, then keep managing how you would manage normally. But yeah, it is a very aggressive, and if you do want to kind of leave a little bit to run, it does make sense as well. If I was in a buy, I probably would close most of my profit and leave a bit to run too, because I'm interested in seeing how rapid this move could go, because especially looking at the yen basket as well. Yeah, I mean, with the yen basket, we are approaching support, so that would be a bit of a concern. It doesn't mean we can't break support, of course, but we are approaching support nonetheless. So yeah, that would be a bit of a concern. Let me go to the weekly chart. Yeah, I could see that as a turning point for the market. Again, like I said, if it's hit your target, you know, take your profit. You can always leave a bit to run in case, but yeah, that would be a bit of a concern there for the yen, because we very much could reject this and turn around. Okay, so where was I? Yes, you can buy BTC directly on the platform. Not for holding and like investing, but in terms of buying, selling BTC for trading, you absolutely can LFTJ. Okay, missed out some messages here. I was long on pound yen, but I closed my position last week Friday. That is unfortunate, Raymond. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. I mean, yeah. The thing is, you want to know that price is going to gap like that, and especially if it was intraday long as well. I think you did make the right decision to do that, because equally the gap has been in your favor. What if this gap was not in your favor? Yeah, and that will happen one day. So, you know, Sometimes it gives with what with one hand, takes with the other. And risk is the most important thing, because the reason you close going into the weekend is because spreads are going to widen, gaps could happen too, especially if you're trading intraday as well. If it's like a swing trade, then closing just because the weekend is probably not the best idea, because you're probably not really going to let your winners run the best they could if you keep closing for the weekend, if you're looking for swing positions. But if it's like intraday, yeah, I think it's still the best decision to make, because if that gap was against you, that could be horrendous. Because imagine people who were selling pound yen last week with some entries like here and some stops here, and price gapped and filled, gapped to open. Well, it would have gapped open here, not the low of the wick. So it would have gapped open there. So imagine like you had some entries there, you got your stops there, and that's like 1R risk. You're probably losing close to 5R, I would say, on that position, including spreads being widened as well. So yeah, if that was against you, you're definitely kicking something. But of course, for you, you're loving life. And that's just where the risk comes into play. Because as a trader, you're always thinking risk. Because risk will keep you in the game. Wins, they come and go. But I think it's still the best decision. No problem. Happy to help, Rexus and Rahana. Welcome to the stream. Don't know if I said hello to you, but no problem. Hope you're doing good. Bashi, what is up, my man? Good to see you back. Appreciate the comment, guys. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff does really help out. Yes, I can take a look at Euro Yen. Temel, I can take a look at Pound CHF as well. Greeting from Turkey. Wicked. Hope you are doing good. Yeah, the lighting is a little bit different because of the setup at the moment. I didn't set up the light. I thought maybe out the light could do the business, but probably set up the light for next time, to be honest, because it's a little bit dark. Yovi, what's up? Why is gold movement so erratic? I wouldn't say necessarily erratic, just very, very, very aggressively bullish. I think a lot of people are just very uncertain and just putting a lot of money into gold right now globally. So I think that's a big driving factor for gold's prices at the moment. A lot of uncertainty. Gold is quite certain. You can always bet on gold value, holding currencies, they come and go, but gold, that's forever. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the big factors really behind gold. But to be honest, again, as a trader, not so concerned, more just is there an opportunity to trade it? If there is, great, let's trade it. NFTJ. Okay, good question. How do you trail stops in a choppy market? Feeling just holding TP in Euro sell from 1.1776. Oh, okay, we'll take a look at that as well. I will go through Pound CHF and Euro Yen. I have not forgot. But yeah, good question. In terms of trading stops in choppy markets, really the answer to the question is you don't, because it's just not an optimal method to use when managing positions in choppy conditions. Because the very definition of choppy conditions is that price will do this. It might still go and hit your target, which might be up here. Maybe you enter here. But in choppy conditions, you're going to see a lot of that. So really, trading stops is not optimal. Because let's say even if you trail below structure, which makes sense, but you very much, it's just not optimal. It's just not optimal. You get tagged out here for a very small win just to see price continue your favor. Of course, there will be times where it doesn't, and you manage well. But trading stops, the idea for trading stops is very much built on momentum. It's built on trend. For example, if the market is really aggressive to the upside, what you can do is say, okay, it's an aggressive trend. Let me see if I can take advantage of the big bulk of this move and just kind of trail underneath these lows as momentum keeps pushing. If the market looks like this, there's literally no point trading because there's no consistency. You want to really sell high. You can take partials along the way if you want, and then buy low or exit low. It makes no sense to trail in these situations, and I know it from the hard way as well. So it's a good question because people would have like management plans, partials, trading stop loss, whatever really. A big mistake a lot of people will make is that they will have that management plan and just use it in every single situation they trade in. Trending, choppy, lightly trending, aggressive markets, flat markets. They will literally use the same approach in every scenario, which I get it in terms of consistency and following a plan, but in terms of being optimal, it doesn't make any sense really. Trading stop losses are really, really good in really trending. Like for example, gold. If you're trading, imagine you bought gold, not even ages ago, but even recently, and you're just trading gold underneath these lows here. That's a great use of trading stop loss. It's a very, very aggressive market. It makes sense to trail because you don't know how far gold's going to go. I've marked 4K, but maybe going past that. So trading stop loss makes so much sense in these conditions. But, when gold was doing all of this, trading stop loss, not optimal at all. You're probably better off just taking partials as price goes along and have your stop loss, have your targets at the highs and at the lows of the range. And like I said, a big mistake people do, which probably does limit their upside, is just mismanaging trades due to the conditions. It's not so much that trading stop loss is flawed, it's just that you're not using it in the best places, and vice versa. Anyway, let's go take a look at pound CHF and euro yen. I'll also go through my watch list. I haven't actually gone through that yet. Okay, so pound Swiss. Not my favorite pair at the moment. But there is a really big level below us. And I quite like the look of that. So I would wait for price to go and test that level and see how we react. That would be my plan. Actually, yeah, I do like that plan, but I actually quite like some sells up here too. Now, I'm not too sure if price is going to make that run first and then drop. It might just drop like this, but that would be a nice opportunity, testing a strong area of supply. You can see the consistency for the lower highs pretty much. The plan is, can you find the next one and take it back to lows and then back to your weekly, daily support level below, and then maybe some buys off that too. So yeah, I actually quite like the sells there. To be honest. Yeah, as long as price doesn't take out this high, the shorts make sense. If price does take out that high, we could still eventually fall over, but I would be a bit more careful with that. So yeah, I do like the shorts here with pound Swiss around 1.07891 and some buys at the key support around 1.0635. I'll keep an eye on both opportunities, of course, depending on your bias, but they both look good to me and good locations as well. So yeah, that's kind of my take on pound Swiss. In terms of euro yen I don't like as much as some of the other yen pairs, and I say that because of where we're trading. This is a very significant level in the market. Very, very significant. And typically when price does take out these areas, I tend to stay back. I tend to let price do its thing because I'm not too sure if we are going to continue to trend, or if price now is going to form an equal high, or if price going to have a bigger retracement, or maybe price just starts to consolidate. These are all question marks I have at these areas because these are very significant areas, especially in this case, because I would have bet a lot of big players in the market probably would have had some targets back at this high. So we could see a lot of bullish positions being close, that naturally will open, you know, shorts in the market. So I don't really want to get, I know the market is still bullish. Excuse me. I know the market is still bullish, but I don't want to keep buying it anymore. I'd rather buy pound yen, which I mentioned earlier, which again has a lot of room to the upside. I see a lot of opportunity here with pound if we can trade above this zone and stay above that, because I'll be looking for a swing to resistance. So there's opportunity there. Euro yen, the opportunity is gone now. You know, price has done its job. It's taken out the high. I wouldn't be looking to, you know, continuously buy euro yen anymore. So if I drop to the intraday time frame, I would probably I'll probably just leave it alone, to be honest. I don't mind this area because it's going to act like an area of demand. You know, gave us this up move, create new highs. I could see price doing something like that, and that could be a nice buy opportunity. You're down low, got a bit of a trend line confluence there as well, so that makes sense to me. Anything else? Not interested. Let me know. Let me know what your thoughts on euro yen as well. I mean, I still would be bullish on the pair. We haven't done anything that is bearish apart from take out the high. But in terms of just a smart place to actually buy from, I'd wait for a pushback to 173. Yeah, Bashi, I've seen the yen. Insane work. Back in longs on GJ, of course. That is the plan now. Some longs on GJ. I think GJ's got a lot of opportunity, to be honest. Silver, 77% since April. Wow. Imagine just literally put all your money in put all your money in silver back in April. You look like a genius right now. And it's still looking bullish. It's probably still going to push to 50 as well. Yeah, I just went through pound C Jeff Raymond. Let me know if you caught it. Pound NZD, yes, we can take a look at that as well. After 4K, 4.1, 4.150. Yeah, of course, yeah. These are the psychological levels to taper. Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, that's the only really reference you have for targets, psychological levels with gold and silver too, because there's nothing above where we're trading. I mean, silver, there's still a little bit, but beyond 50, there is nothing. So you're just going to have to use those prices. You can use fib extensions. There's other things you can use. But I think psychological level is actually quite significant, really, because that's probably where a lot of the bigger players are probably, you know, okay, if I'm going to buy gold at 3,500, maybe my target's going to be around 4K. So, yeah, they're not going to have targets at like 41.62, are they? So, they could do, but most likely it's going to be round numbers or numbers that end in 5. And since those are the bigger players who actually drive price, us retail traders, yeah, our accounts are nowhere near as big as theirs. So we have pretty much no say on what price is going to do. We just have to kind of follow what they're doing. And I think once prices are at all-time highs, psychological levels are probably the best way to put targets. If you are going to have a target, the other method would just trail stops and let price do its thing. Let me take a look at pound NZD. So pound NZD, yeah, I don't have much of a bias or an idea on this one. I mean, yes, the market is very bullish, and we are still seeing higher highs and higher lows, but we are trading in resistance here. So I'm not particularly keen on buying pound NZD right now or here anyway. I analyzed this one last week and I said if we are going to be bullish on this one, this is the territory I want price to be trading in if I am going to be looking to buy the market. Anything here is still resistance. Doesn't mean price can't go higher. Of course we can, but just not optimal, just not in the best place for it. I would like to see a much bigger pullback for pound NZD. Then we can talk about some longs around 2.29, 2.85. So that's really my take. I'm not the biggest fan of the price action here anyway. Really corrective on the way up. It's not like we saw a lot of momentum like we did over here. And this gave us a really nice corrective pullback. This is super corrective on the way up, and now was super corrective on the way back down. So there's no kind of want for me to trade. There's no momentum to follow really, apart from going back here, which is why I like this zone here as well. So yeah, pound NZD, I still would just be bullish on this one. We are trading against resistance here, so this is just not a great place for buying at all, especially if you have a swing bias. Intraday you can get away with it, but from a swing perspective, not great. So yeah, I would wait for a deeper pullback, and then we can discuss some longs, but again, that might take a week or two for us to actually get there. But that's the area which will make a lot more sense for some longs. And shorts, I'm not really keen on shorts either, to be honest. Because again, it is counter trend. Do I really want to try and bet on some tops? Not really. I don't have any real significance to back that or support that idea really. So I'd rather stick with the buys for now. And that will be the better place for me. Raymond, don't you think pound CGF is making a bottom? What time frame? What's your kind of? Because bottom, is it a bottom like intraday bottom, or are you talking about like a bottom for the week, or a bottom for us to long-term reverse like this, for example, or even this, for example? Let me know kind of what your time horizon for that bottom is, because yeah, we could be. I mean, this is very, very significant support, as we can see. Really big rejections from these areas, so I could definitely bet that price could come back and bounce again. But would I anticipate a bottom here? Again, it depends what you're talking about. I mean, I can bet on price bouncing from support, but I could easily see price doing something like this again, because every time we do bounce, we are making a lower high. It's not like we're creating higher highs. Every time price is bouncing, it's not going as far as it did on the previous bounce. So that tells me that, okay, the bears are still fighting and the buyers are not really doing a fantastic job. Yes, they're keeping price above this level, but at the same time, yes, we might bounce again just to form another lower high, and maybe the next time we actually break it. So in terms of a bottom, let me know a little bit more what you're kind of referring to. But at the moment, what I can kind of see is just, yeah, big support level. We're likely to bounce. We've been doing that quite a lot recently. I still quite like the sells here too. Unless you're talking about this being a bottom, I'm not quite convinced, to be honest. Yeah, nor would I want to trade that. If this is going to be a bottom, yeah, I mean, I'd rather buy at the lows than try and anticipate that being a low. So I don't. It could be, of course. I don't want to say it won't be, because I don't know. But I like the sell idea. I like the buy idea, and that's really where I want to position myself. This looks quite choppy to me, so I'd stay away from here. But yeah, it could be a bottom. I can see where you would reference if that's what you're talking about. But I'm not quite sold on that idea. Almost there, Holy One. Let's see how we're progressing. I haven't actually looked at this one, have I? Okay, yeah, looking pretty bullish. Almost back to highs. I'm pretty sure that's where you mentioned your target was. 24,983. So very, very close to testing highs again. Actually, I think could be some nice buy opportunities on some pullbacks here. Let me drop to like a 5-minute chart, because I really like this wick here. Really aggressive. and then suddenly momentum kicks in. So what I could see happening is maybe then a buy, maybe from this area. I think that could be a very nice intraday buy. This is the 5-minute chart, by the way. But I could see this being a really nice idea on like a, you can even drop lower, to be honest, but I think 5's good, but you can even drop to like a 3 or a 1 minute, to be honest. But I like the zone here. I like the way price is moving. Like I said, I really like this aggressive wick to the downside. I do bet on more continuation. And of course, it's still a very bullish market. Let's not forget that. So we do have that natural confluence of the trend in our favor too. So very, very bullish on NAS. And yeah, I do think we are likely to attack the highs again. So yeah, I don't mind it. Where was I? Yeah, I mean, price has just been hitting one after the other, to be honest, Bashi. Of course, no need to force it, no need to rush it, because at the end of the day, if you do take a poor trade, it's going to give money unnecessarily back to the market, which you're going to have to make back at some point anyway. So, might as well wait for the good trade, even if it does take a few days or even a week. AUD, NZD doing well on the back of gold, silver rally. Yeah, that is true. Because those USD pairs haven't made a move down. Euros had a bit of a drop, but Euro is quite weak at the moment as well. What's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good, and hope you had a good weekend. What is up? Yes, Euro pound. We can take a look. After play momentum, I'm interested. Okay, USD's art, dollar CHF. Okay, dollar CHF's quite interesting. But yeah, we can definitely take a look as well. Yeah, that will happen as well. Especially when you have like specific conditions for an entry or a trade idea. There'll be many times where you do have a bias, but you just don't get an entry to take a trade. I think the key thing with that is just because you don't get an entry that fits your plan, yes, don't take a trade because then you'd be breaking your plan. But I do think, you know, you should be still marking up those ideas, because there could be a plan, there could be a strategy, there could be an entry method style that you could use to take advantage of those opportunities as well. Because of course, if you can look at the market and have a pretty confident bias of where you think price is going to go, and most of the time it does do that, then there's opportunity there. And just because the method you're trading, the setup you're trading, the entry style you're trading is not present in those opportunities, yes, you shouldn't be jumping in. But I do think there's still opportunity there in terms of, you know, studying price. Is there a way to actually trade this? You know, try and find a way, because if you do have a bias and it's playing out most of the time, there's opportunity to take advantage of that, even if your setup is not there. Maybe it's time to add a second setup to the arsenal. That's just my take anyway. Other people just like, okay, let me just stay in my lane, which is good as well, because trading is difficult. Even having two strategies or two setups can be double as hard, but if you can manage it, I think it's a great way to really just progress even further. In terms of, forgot what pairs we're going to take a look at. It wasn't Euro Pound, there's a pair before that. Or was it Euro Pound? Yeah, I did take a look at NAS, didn't I? Yeah. Yes, it is Euro Pound. Okay, Euro Pound we'll take a look at, then dollar CHF and dollar ZAR as well. Okay, so beautiful move there for Euro Pound. Okay, let me remind myself where we're. Okay, I know where we are. Okay, so Euro Pound, I remember last time we were trading here, we were retesting that zone. I said shorts in this area or shorts above the high. I said I did prefer shorts above the high just because it's away from all the noise. But if you were looking for more like an intraday setup, this also would be a nice location for a short because, of course, you have the range, you have the breakout, so the retest, and you're looking for the continuation as well. So, you know, both areas were pretty good, but this was a bit more like an intraday kind of quick opportunity. But it would have been difficult to actually take advantage of this opportunity because, or at least the whole opportunity, because even if you did enter last week, Friday, you would have had to have held it over the weekend. And even if you did, this move might even show you out the trade there, unfortunately. But of course, you could just re-enter. But yeah, really nice move to the downside there for Euro Pound from that zone. Really nice bearish candle this morning. Now, what would the plan be now? I still see a big range here. So really, again, if I was just analyzing for me, myself, and I'd probably stay away from Euro Pound now because we're closer to the middle of all of this, which naturally is where the most chaos, the most fluctuation, indecision will be, and that's really an area which I want to stay away from. But if I had to look for an opportunity, it would still be with the short bias, looking for another pullback into this area. Basically, just continue the pattern. Consolidation, drop, retest. Consolidation, drop, retest. I'll look for the next swing. At least in this area, I'm back at supply. Sort of away from the noise. And if price is going to continue with the lower highs, I'm probably in the best position to take advantage of that. So yeah, if I was looking at Euro Pound, it would be pullbacks of the momentum we saw this morning, and some shorts around 0.871 will be the best place for that. I wouldn't want to short too late down here, especially as we're starting to approach demand, support, and just come into the middle of the range. Not the best place for it. So yeah, that's really my take on Euro Pound. It's looking a lot better because more momentum's coming into play. I mean, it's still in a range, it's still quite choppy, but momentum's there, which is always a big thing for me. So I like that aspect of Euro Pound. In terms of dollar CHF, so this is actually one of the pairs I'm keeping a close eye on this week for both shorts and longs, and both very, very similar setups actually. If I mark it out on the 4-hour chart, so this was the long opportunity I was going to keep a close eye on this week. I mean, technically I still am. It's just I'm not too sure if I'll get the opportunity, especially with the dollar looking so strong. I kind of think we'll see dollar CHF just break to the upside here. So I might not get the setup, but the setup was a push back to this area, back into the demand zone, pretty much what I referenced to DXY early in the stream. And then look for some buys in this zone. As long as price doesn't take out this low, you know, I'm bullish. And I don't want to trade inside here because it's just very, very choppy, very range bound. I want to be outside of all of that and then take buys back into the range with me being positioned very well. So that was the plan for dollar CHF. However, it doesn't look like that's happening. So from a bearish standpoint, I actually quite like the sells up here too. Really nice bearish supply area, really aggressive move back down. And I like the idea of price taking out these highs, pushing into this area, hopefully a strong rejection, and taking some shorts, and possibly a push back to these lows if the trend is going to continue. We've got lower lows and lower highs on the way down. Quite like the idea of another push into that zone, and maybe another lower high over there, and this would just be like a big correction. So that's really the take I have for dollar CHF. I'm looking to play both sides of the coin really, because again, for the DXY, I don't really have a long-term bias just yet. Everything is still kind of up in the air with the dollar. I would still say that the overall trend is still bearish for the DXY, so the shorts actually do make sense for dollar Swiss, and of course current trend for dollar CHF is still short bias too. even though I think at some point we'll get that bigger pullback, but we're not to know when. So I still do think there's a bit more downside there for dollar CHF. So yeah, we'll keep a close eye on the short side. I also did like the longs there, but like I said, I don't think I'll get that opportunity anymore. And in terms of USD ZAR, let me look at this on the daily chart. So yeah, it looks like USD ZAR is very close to hitting that support level. 17, pretty much on the dot. This is still a pretty big level of support. So what I would say is if we could see a run back to that area, that would still be a very smart place for a short. You can see prices had a couple really good reactions at that area. I would say if we can get another one, that would be really, really good. So yeah, that's still very much the plan there for USD ZAR. Still the same idea, still looking for price to reach that low. We're very close to it now. This has been a very, very significant level of support, which of course we would expect to act as a resistance now. If we can see price pull back into that, I do think shorts look really, really good from that area. So yeah, pretty bearish bias on USD ZAR. And a pair which I haven't actually mentioned, which is on my watch list. I actually quite like pound CAD longs. Holy One, you were trading this last week, and I'm looking to see if we can still get that move. I quite like this zone here, and I'm still looking to see if I can see a push back into that high at 1.884, because after all, the overall trend for pound CAD is still very much bullish. It is quite flat, but what I like about it is that we are starting to pick up momentum of these higher lows. So the plan is, can we find the next one and trade it back to highs and so on and so forth. So I quite like what I'm seeing there with pound CAD. And if price can go and sweep out the lows, I mean, we technically have done that. I kind of want to see a slightly bigger move, to be honest, before I do go for an entry. But yeah, I'm looking to see if I can take it back to highs. And also we did get a signal this morning as well, which I always like as in terms of a confluence for it as well. For pound CAD longs, back over here, although I would probably put my stop loss a little bit lower, 1.872. 1.872 would be about there-ish. And yeah, I probably want my stop loss a little bit lower, but in terms of the idea, very much the same for a push back to the high. So we're going to keep a very close eye on pound CAD. Probably a very, very close eye, because I think at this point in time it's the only setup that I might get entry today. I don't think any of the USD pairs will give me anything today. So pound CAD is at the top of my list for now. Okay, so I'll quickly go take a look at Aussie New Zealand dollar. For Tamil. Trading all-time highs risky? Yeah, it can be. But gold's been in all-time highs for like many, many months now. And what I believe to be risky is when price just creates an all-time high or just creates an all-time low. That's when I think it's a bit risky, because we don't really know how price is going to react. Once price breaks an all-time high and still continues to trend well, then we know what we're getting. The market's still bullish, doesn't really care it's an all-time high. People are still very bullish. The market continues. And that's the scenario we've got with gold. When price just creates an all-time high, that's when it's a bit awkward. It's like, okay, are we going to reject now? Are people happy with price and start to, close their positions and open new ones in the other direction? We're not to know. So, yeah, I do agree, but I only kind of think that when it happens. In terms of the next few days that follows, as long as we can get like inconsistency in terms of what price is doing, then it just becomes regular price action really. Okay, so Aussie New Zealand dollar, we'll take a look. Euro drop due to PM resigning. Yeah, that gave us a really big push for euro. And of course, USD is already strong. Yusuf, Aussie CAD, UJ, GJ on the 15. Sure thing, we'll take a look as well. Okay, 2-3 different entry models. Okay, nice. All very similar for different situations, but they're all high probability entry. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, for the opportunities that you miss, but you still get like a good confident bias for, you can maybe work in something entirely different to those models. Again, I'm not saying, what's broke don't fix. I'm just saying that, if you do get scenarios where you do have a bias, and it happens quite a lot of the time, and you see that bias play out, but you're not there to take a trade, maybe there's still an opportunity to trade that just in a different method, which you can explore. But of course, if you do like what you got now, no need to change it. No problem, Raymond. Happy to help. Okay, we'll take a look at pound USD for Andre as well. Holy one, yeah, pound CAD crossed for sell, so no go. Okay, fair enough. I still do like the buys because of where we're positioned, but kind of wait and see if we can spike the low a little bit harder first and then get the buy afterwards. But for me, pound CAD does still look pretty bullish, so I still quite like the buys. But yeah, I mean, Holy One, you really took your profits and ran, so you've done your job. Okay, so we'll go through Aussie, NZD, Aussie CAD, UJ, GJ on the 15, then we'll take a look at pound USD for Andre. Okay, so this one's actually quite interesting because it's been so bullish lately. So I do think there's actually a lot of opportunity with Aussie, NZD, and I'm looking for a push back to resistance here, which is basically just above our heads. But truthfully, I actually do think price will like take out the wick high as well. So I do think actually go to the monthly chart. I do think we still got more upside to give. You can see in the monthly momentum's picked up. We've been very, very consistent with all these high lows. It looks to me that price kind of just picked up momentum and now it's getting ready for a big breakout. So the plan with Aussie NZD is simply looking for some pullbacks for some buys. Keeping it very, very simple. We'll go to the weekly chart. Maybe mark out this high here. That would be a nice place for a retest. If we could see price pull back all that way, then continue. I don't think we're asking for too much for the market there, especially with how bullish this move has been. Retest and then continuation, that would be a great opportunity. Of course, that probably would take a few weeks to happen, but that would be nice of an opportunity. At the moment, it's way too early to be looking for anything. I mean, I like this area here, kind of away from the noise here a little bit. So maybe a bigger pullback like that. That could be a nice buy opportunity there. I'm not convinced about the buys just yet. I think it's way too early to be jumping into buys. I mean, of course, price could still run to the upside. I can't see into the future, but I just think this is just way too early to start buying, especially with a kind of a meaty pullback. We've had a bit of aggressive momentum there too. So I would be a bit more careful with what we're seeing now in terms of the price action and entering longs. But if you work our way closer to 1.28 or even the high here at 1.117, now you're talking. Now I like what I'm seeing. Then I'll probably add Aussie, New Zealand dollar to my watch list as well. But I am pretty bullish on this one. I do think more upside is likely, but I would wait for a slightly deeper correction for a buy. Okay, so let's take a look at Aussie CAD, UJ, and GJ. Okay, so Aussie CAD, okay, on the 15. So Aussie CAD. I mean, it's not looking great. I mean, we are testing highs here, so we have to take that into consideration. For the most part, we are just really flat. I could even just box this all into a range, really, and just say that's consolidation. So, truthfully, I wouldn't look to do anything with Aussie CAD. I would stay well away, at least on the 15-minute chart. Yes, there's a bit of support here. Maybe we do bounce, but it's a big maybe. I'm not really seeing a good opportunity here for Aussie CAD. So I'm bullish on this one on higher time frames. I still do think there's higher prices likely to be seen for Aussie CAD, but I just don't like what we're doing here. Very, very range bound. No real opportunity. Not really trading any area significance. I would say the low of the range, which is more or less down at the lows here, would be a much better place for a buy. So I would suggest maybe keep an eye on that level. Anything other than that, I'm not so keen on. And of course, I'm shorts at the high too. So I'm going to keep the analysis pretty short and sweet on the 15th Aussie CAD. I am pretty bullish, and if we do get a breakout like this, I think Aussie CAD looks really, really interesting. Maybe some pullbacks to retest the area. That could be a very nice buy, so on and so forth. As I've been saying, I do think Aussie CAD is still likely to push back to resistance on our left here at 0.3345. So overall, I'm very, very bullish on the pair. But just in the middle here, with all that noise, with all that indecision, just looks really hectic. I'd rather stay away from the pair, or at least buy the low of the range. In terms of UJ, this one I like a lot. It is a part of my watch list, and I look at price, it looks pretty straightforward to me. Looks as if prices come back inside the range, we've consolidated, and now we've broken out again, this time a bit more commanding. And if this is the real deal, I do think price is just likely to come back and test the high on the left there. So I'm very, very, very bullish on dollar yen, and really I just want to be looking for pullbacks for a buy. And I probably would be looking at the 15-minute chart for the pullbacks. So what I would suggest is a nice correction like that to speak. Of course, this is very hypothetical. We need price to actually start giving us somewhat of a pullback. That's really the opportunity I'm interested in. Then a push back to this high would be the target. So very, very bullish on dollar yen. 15-minute chart, not enough information to map out an area to long from or look to find an entry. I mean, it would be nice to get the retest of this high here, but yeah, I'm not too sure if we will. And was it GJ? Yeah, GJ. And as for GJ in the 15, pretty much the same plan as UJ. Price looks like it's broken out of this high. And if that is the case, I expect us to make a move up here. So to me, there's a lot of room to the upside. And the plan is just really looking to find pullbacks along the way as we go and hit that target. The only way I look to reinvestigate things, change the bias up, is if I do see price come back below that zone. If we do, then I'll reinvestigate. But for now, of course, that isn't the case. So again, on the 15, I mean, I'll be a bit careful because we've just taken out this high. So be a bit careful of that. I mean, this would be more of an aggressive trade, and I'd probably say this is more of a 5-minute chart. That could be a nice trade there, sort of coming back to retest the high. That could be a nice long. It's an aggressive position because you're essentially buying at highs, and there hasn't been much of a down move, much of a pullback. But what you're saying is there's a lot of momentum in the market. We're just going to take out highs. We've broken through a big level in the weekly chart. I'm expecting price to maintain this momentum. So I'm just going to buy the dips with the expectation that we're going to return to highs, so on and so forth. So this is still, again, a little bit aggressive in terms of the on the momentum side of things, but it fits the description of what the market is doing at the moment, and it makes sense to me. Other than that, I would wait for a more deeper, complex pullback, which again, we don't know if it started yet or not. So this is probably a situation where maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there's a bit more detail, a bit more information we can analyze. But yeah, in terms of direction, looking to buy. So that is the plan on GJ. We'll go through pound USD, probably take a look at euro whilst we're at it. No problem, Lighton, happy to help. No problem, Temel, happy to help. Okay, still above on the 4 hour. Recrossing the hour. Okay. Okay, until then. Yeah, of course, you got your rules. Wait for price to meet them before getting involved. Alarm on Aussie New Zealand sales. Okay, need 50 break first before doing anything. Yeah, I'm very bullish on Aussie New Zealand dollar. Although I do want to see a bit more downside for a bigger retracement, then buy it back up. Alex, good morning, my man. I hope you're doing good. It's brand new week. Yes, it is an interesting one. Already chaotic, but a new one nonetheless. Money bags, dollar CHF, yes, we could take a look. That's actually a pair on the watch list at the moment. So I'm keeping a very close eye on dollar Swiss for some opportunities. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Keeping a very close eye on dollar CHF for some opportunities, and I'm actually looking at playing both sides of the coin. Although I'm not too sure if I will get the bullish one. Although let me not speak too much because the market has a way of surprising us. But anyway, I'm looking to either sell at this area, so 0.803, or buy at this area at 0.791. Those are my two areas of interest. Now, you can see how choppy and miserable price looks like in here. That is the zone which I want to stay well away from. If I can get run to the lows to take out this low here, test this demand zone, this is a very nice place for a buy. And you'll be positioned well too. Now, I also like the sells, primarily because the trend is still very much down. So that still does have an edge to the market until you do start to break structure. I'm always going to have that kind of inclination to trade with the predominant trend. In this case, a bearish one. So I quite like the sells, and I quite like this supply zone. Really aggressive move down. We haven't come back to revisit that yet. We do have this high here, which price could let's go run and then have a bit of a dip. And this bullish move has somewhat been quite corrective in general. So it's not like price is taking out lows here and just really aggressively just run to highs. Not the case. It's been quite slow, quite corrective. So shorts around there do look good on paper. But of course, how we get there, how we reject is going to be very crucial if we actually get the shorts or not. And likewise with the longs down there too. So yeah, with dollar CHF, just going to keep a very close eye because at the moment we're still within the range. So I don't really have much of an opportunity to speak about, to be honest, inside here. I don't really want to trade inside there, to be honest. This is where I've got value. This is where I've got opportunity. That's really where I want to wait to see price. If price can get there, then look to trade. Let me go do pound USD because I actually forgot about pound, didn't I? Apologies, Andre. I'll do pound and euro. So in terms of pound USD, that's really where I do want to find my opportunities back at this high here. Reason being, it's away from the noise. The exact same situation with dollar CHF. Price is very noisy in the middle here. I want to be at the highs. I want to be away from all that area, because if that is the high of the range, then that always will be the best place to try and short a market or wait for a breakout in that case. But yeah, we're back at the high. If we're back at the high, this is where I look for entries. That's where I look to put a stop. Now see if I can take a push back into the low. Yeah, in terms of where we are right now, very, very messy. Not looking for anything, even if it drops like a hourly chart. Not really seeing much opportunity, to be honest. A bit of support below us, price kind of bouncing on those areas. Yeah, don't see much opportunity. And quite frankly, I don't want to trade in the middle. And same case for Euro, although, of course, with Euro's strength, or weakness, I should say, this morning, it's kind of left me in the dust a little bit. I said I was looking for shorts around here for a move back down. Didn't quite happen. We had this aggressive move early today, and now I said if we can get some type of pullback, that would be great for some shorts back into the low. But overall, I do think more downside is likely for Euro pound. Not Euro pound. It's because I just did Euro and pound. More downside for Euro. My focus now is to see what we do at this low, because I do think we could possibly turn around. And also what's quite interesting, I was looking at the market sentiment for Euro this morning, and apparently there's a lot of short sellers, and I wouldn't be so, this is the prompt I'm using, but there's a lot of short sellers in the market right now, which is not surprising, because of course after the big move this morning, a lot of people will be like, okay, Euro is really weak, sell, 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 which makes sense, which is not always the best thing to do. Quite frankly, my idea of like a good opportunity is to get into the market before everyone else realizes it's bearish, or get into the market before everyone else realizes it's bullish. That's where the opportunity lies, because I'm not saying you have to call the start of the move, but you want to be close to the start. That's where the juice is. If you're getting in once everyone realizes it's bearish, or once everyone realizes it's bullish, then where's the opportunity? Yeah, there's not much of one. Anywho, but you can see in terms of the sentiment, yeah, social media chatter is showing increased bearish bias after Euro struggle at 1.17. Okay, retail position says heavy long position, typically at contrarian signal. Okay, so yeah, people will be looking to try and long because of the bearish bias. But going into this morning, people were very, very short. So yeah, cautious rebalancing, okay. Yeah, so with people being heavily short, now looks like people are kind of shifting to more of a bullish bias, which is literally what I'm doing as well, to be honest. Looking to see what we could do here for maybe a buy to go back up again. There's a lot of momentum right now, so I have to be quite careful, and it really depends how we do react with that low, because if we do keep up this momentum, I see another big candle like this, I will back away 100%. But let's say if we do push and it's very slow, very tiresome, I'm seeing a lot of wicks, some strength coming back into the market, then yeah, that could be a very nice buy. And maybe this is just a bigger pullback for euro dollar for us to then continue back to highs. And hopefully I might be able to take advantage of the next low. And that comes back to the logic what I just mentioned earlier about being bullish before everyone else realizes the market is bullish. You know, if I can buy down here, everyone's probably going to have a bit more of a bearish sentiment here. And then once price does start to push, everyone's like, okay, yeah, the market is bullish. Let's buy, buy, buy. But the move is ready. Yeah, majority of it done by them. So that's the plan. Yes, we could take a look at oil, BTC and NAS, no problem. Any idea on dollar yen? Yes, I do have an idea on dollar yen. I'm very, very bullish on that one. Looking for a push to 150.9. But I'll quickly run through that as well. Holy One, still committed to trading indices after testing? Yes, yes. I mean, only US 30 so far, but I haven't got to testing NAS and S&P yet. Been quite busy at the moment, but US 30 is a part of the arsenal. I mean, I think I've only taken about 2 live positions on it since adding it to my kind of watch list. But again, that's kind of how it goes, to be honest, because now I'm starting to trade a bit more intraday, so I might be trading US30 a bit more frequently now. But again, trading the 4 hour chart, I could easily go 3, 4, 5, 6 months without touching a pair just because there's no good opportunity there. I'm always looking for the best opportunity on the market. It might be New Zealand CAD, it might be the Dow Jones, it might be pound yen. And, I could very much go a few months without touching a pair. And yeah, since then I've only taken 2 trades, I believe. But yeah, now I'm looking at a bit more intraday opportunities. So I'm going to be trading the 15, the 30, the hourly, and the 4 hour. I'm just going to be scanning between those time frames as well. So probably I'll be taking a bit more intraday positions on US30 because I'm not now just limited to the 4 hour chart. But I will be looking to add NAS. I will be looking to add S&P as well when I do get the time, and oil too. And just add more, to be honest. Because going into the week, I very much have a plan of what pairs I'm going to trade in each morning. I kind of know what I'm going to look to do for the day. So even if I do have 100 pairs I'm looking to trade, on the weekend, I will nail that down to a very set few, which I'll focus on for that week. So although, you might think my mind's kind of in the clouds a little bit because you're looking at so many different markets. And of course, during the streams, I do look at quite a lot of markets as well, but that's primarily because of just giving my opinion and sharing my bias for people. But I kind of already know the pairs I'm looking to trade. And today, there's only one pair that might give me an opportunity, and that's long on pound CAD. Really, so yeah, I don't mind adding more because I'll always keep it the watch is very tailored and very short. Anyway, let's go take a look at NAS 100, Bitcoin, oil, and dollar yen. Excuse me. So yeah, NAS 100. Look at that for NAS, looking very, very bullish. I bet Holy One is loving life right now. I said it would be nice for a little pullback here, but it looks like we're way too bullish for that. We are pumping right now. But yeah, NAS looks really bullish, to be honest, and it's probably a situation where if you want in a trade, yeah, you kind of wait for price to pull back, which at this point I'm not too sure if we will. I mean, we eventually will, of course, but before we hit the highs, I'm not too sure if that will happen, especially with the aggressive movement we're seeing right now. But yeah, very, very bullish. I mean, again, when the market is in this scenario, if you look at the daily chart, aggressively bullish, especially if you're an intraday trader, there's only one thing you should be doing, and that's looking to find good opportunities to buy the market. Sells almost redundant, really. I know there are some moves here, but why focus on that when predominantly the market is up? Focus on the buys. There will be a bearish cycle at some point. For now, just stick with the buys here. And yeah, as we approach the high, we'll go create another high, and then we'll look for the next pullback, and the cycle continues until we kind of break structure and look a little bit different. But yeah, still very, very bullish here for NAS. I was actually hoping for a slightly deeper pullback this week into here, but no, the market is way too bullish even for that. In terms of BTC, I'm pretty sure new all-time highs again for BTC. If I'm not mistaken. Yep, we gone and hit 125 there. So BTC looking very bullish. Not much to do apart from buy this one too. And again, I wouldn't be too scared to buy BTC at all-time highs. If this was like an FX pair, I would be like, yeah, let's not buy BTC. But Bitcoin could just go into that exponential phase where it's just very bullish and just being violent to the upside. So I wouldn't be as fearful as buying BTC at this current price, especially after just creating the all-time high, because I know what BTC can do. And yeah, we're very, very consistent still seeing higher highs and higher lows. I like this zone here, which we came back to retest. I'd say a nice buy opportunity would be a push back into the low here, and then some longs there. That would be a nice way to position. Maybe price does just fly from there, but I would say that idea is kind of in play. That trade's missed. So if we can come back down one more time, find some entries in this area, I think that'd be a great place to find some entries. I don't know why that that word slipped my mind. Find some more entries in that area, then take it back to highs, and so on and so forth. Next big psychological level for BTC would be, I'll probably say 127.5. But the next big one will be, of course, 130k. Ooh. Which is up there. But I would keep an eye on 127.5 as well. And in terms of I forgot which pair, oil and dollar yen. In terms of oil, yeah, oil's a bit awkward because we're pretty bullish this morning, yeah. And I said watch out of this area because it's such a big level of support. It's always a little bit awkward sometimes when we have shallow breakouts. They can sometimes be a bit fake outs. And they're kind of, I wouldn't say this is a fake out yet, but it's kind of trading slightly back above the high. So for oil, I'm still very bearish on. I still do think prices like to push here. All I want for oil is two things: either a bigger breakout of that support level, and then we can look for the retest for some shorts, or just a bigger pullback, more so into this territory again, look for the next lower high, then some more shorts. Either which way, I'm looking to short oil. So really bearish on this one, expecting more downside. It's just a bit of an awkward territory where this could be a fake out, and I just don't want to be jumping short straight into that. But if we have a more convincing breakout, then yeah, pullbacks to retest that area make a lot more sense, and we can see price continue. Or of course, get a much bigger pullback into this kind of zone, back in resistance, back in supply, and the sells make sense there too. So those are the two opportunities I'm looking at, especially from a swing bias as well. I wouldn't really want to be shorting here. So yeah, looking for a bigger pullback or a bigger breakout, and then we get the shorts there. And in terms of dollar yen, looking super bullish. So just looking for more upside really, for a pushback to 150, 151 we can call it, round it up. Yeah, now that price is back outside this range here, has set me to a very bullish bias right now. So the plan now will be just some pullbacks, a higher low, and a continuation, probably some pullbacks on like a 50-minute chart. I don't really have a setup. It's very hypothetical for the time being because I'm still waiting for price to kind of correct and give me the move. But probably at some stage this week there will be, well, hopefully there will be a pullback we can trade. But the targets this week is a pushback to the high there. So just looking at bullish opportunities, not interested in sales whatsoever. But I do see us hitting 151. Probably some new highs beyond that as well, and then we'll go from there. Because the bigger picture is still a very corrective market. So I kind of do expect something like this at some point. But at least the push to 151, and we'll be happy with that. Yusuf, no problem, happy to help. UJ and GJ, so confused, especially with the gap. Yeah, especially with a gap that big as well, especially if you haven't experienced it before. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, what do I do here? But yeah, don't be afraid of gaps, especially in the FX markets. Just trade price as you would normally do, and it builds experience as well. Now you have experienced a massive gap like this, record price and see what happens. So for next time you can kind of have something to base it on, but of course it could do something different the next time too. But yeah, I mean, gaps in FX, I'll probably say majority of them do close immediately. Sometimes gaps happen and they don't close for a long time. And probably there are some gaps that haven't closed yet too. I don't really look to try and play gap fills, especially from a swing bias as well. I'm just here to take a good position based on kind of pullback opportunities. And for the yen pairs, they look very bullish, and if I can find a good pullback, I expect more upside. Okay, we've kind of run out of time, ladies and gents, but I appreciate you all coming down to the stream and checking it out. Still have a sore throat, so do excuse me. I haven't been at my normal decibels this stream. All right, take care, Bashi. Appreciate it, my man. have a good one, Holy One, as well. I appreciate you tuning in. Yes, I do journal my trades. Well, I journal on two softwares. I use Notion for more like written journal. In terms of just recording trades, I just use Excel for that. Chris, what's up, my man? Didn't see your message. What's up? How are you? How are you trading business? Trading's been a little bit quiet, to be honest. I mean, I was traveling last week, so I didn't really have the time to be on the charts, to be honest. But did I take a trade last week? No, I didn't. No, I didn't take a trade last week. The week before that, I had a short on gold and a short on dollar CAD. Gold could have managed that better, but there was news, and I was trading on the 50-minute time frame. That could have been a nice win. Took a short on dollar CAD. That didn't play out too well, although I'm still going to keep an eye on that. But yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. I haven't traded since then. I have been quite busy. Still am at the moment, to be honest. But hopefully this week, a bit more consistency. I can find some few positions. But yeah, being a bit quiet. But hopefully that can change. But guys, yeah, I really appreciate you tuning into the stream. I will be live again tomorrow, so do tune in. And hope to see you all there. If you have enjoyed this stream, do drop a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell, all that good stuff. Share with your friends. Does really help out. If you haven't checked out Zentrix yet, the link to the platform's at the top of the chat. But also the link to the platform itself is in the description below. All you need is 1 million of the token, which is about $8 to access the platform. You have access to all the features as well. So the agents, signals, and plenty more too. So if you want to check it out, links in the description to that, and also the link to the platform is at the top of the chat. But guys, hope you have had a great stream and a great time on the stream. If so, I hope to see you all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Six AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. XAU, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.